going to talk about fear. I think it's probably the most relevant thing. And I'm having less of a fear reaction up here now than I was in the first Teach Me, because I've kind of got used to it. Actually, what happens when we feel scared is, and you probably all recognise this, is the throat can close up, ghosts can walk through the door. You might get your heart jackhammering, the lungs can sort of tighten up and breathing can get restricted. You can feel nervous in your stomach and you can get tension in your, sometimes you get the sweaty palms. As teachers, I'm just going to guess how many people have recognised that fear reaction. Just a short answer. Okay. And one of the things I think that's endemic in the system that we're working in right now is fear. Are we meeting our targets? Are the students going to get the results they want? The kids are under a lot of stress. They're feeling a lot of fear as well. And fear, although a little bit of fear is a good thing, but too much is a very bad thing. So there's a continuum of the way that kids react, well, human beings react to fear. And at this end, there can be total disengagement. I'm not going to do it. They'll mess around in class. They won't do the work, or maybe they'll just sit quietly and hope you don't notice that they're doing nothing. And at this end of the scale, and this is for teachers as well, you get people who just work too hard. They can't switch off. They get ill during the holidays. How many of you have ever experienced that? Holiday comes, get the flu, right? I just look around the room, everybody's putting their hands up. So, I've got two assumptions. One assumption really is that teachers are coming from a place, picking up on what Steve said earlier this morning, we're coming from a place of love. We love learning. That's why we want our kids to love learning. We love being part of the communities that we're part of, because we can actually make a difference. We really can help young people realise that within themselves, and picking up on the SMSC, sorry, I didn't know that. There's unlimited potential within an individual. And then when you're talking about the cultures, the context that kids are growing up in, that they're not getting that from their parents because their parents didn't get that in school. Our schools have been, I'm a school teacher myself, I've been a school teacher for 15 years. I'm also a therapist and a life coach. I'm not knocking schools, I'm not knocking teachers, but I do want to raise this point that I think our schools are fear-based. I think how do we motivate our kids? Don't fail, don't mess up. It's great to hear about the mentoring programs where there's a team-based thing where people are striving to reach a goal and working together. So, how do you do that? How do you deal with fear in an organisation, and how do you motivate the kids to go for something that they really want? Because with an exam, it's very hard to motivate somebody to go through the preparation and the fear that's needed to reach the exam. So all of these questions were in my head, and about 7 years ago I just wasn't feeling comfortable in my role as a school teacher at all, because of the way I was seeing the staff and the students suffering. So being a therapist, I just thought, well, how can I put these two things together? And so over the last sort of 7 years, a program's developed in our school, and it's also been picked up by schools in some schools in Norfolk, and some university in Sheffield's picked it up as well. Well, what we've done is we've just one of the first things you can do is what we did earlier is just we put our hands up and said, yeah, I feel that way too. And so you begin to normalise that everybody goes through stress and fear and anxiety. And then by introducing a language, and you can change the culture around that. So because people have got a way of talking about it, so it's not something that you just hide and you feel ashamed of because you're scared of standing up in front of a room of, 20 people and talking about something you're passionate about. Another thing that we do is we get the kids to set goals, and we walk them through how to set goals, and that's very simple to do. But then we do a whole year group role play where everybody goes into role, and we pretend that it's the summer and they've come in to pick up the results, and then they get in an envelope, they get the results that they've put down as goals, and then when they open them, they actually feel what it's like to be successful. And for some kids, that's the first time they've felt successful in their lives. Now, what we've then got is an opportunity to say, well, look, that is all you get. When you get your GCSEs, that is it. you get this feeling, you've got these qualifications, and some doors are going to open for you. And now they've got something to start to visualize and work towards instead of just trying to get away from failing. So, impact analysis of a 3-year study that we did in my school. The first year, the kids who came on the course, compared to the kids who didn't do the course, because they could self-select to come on it, they got 4 points per GCSE on average higher than the rest of the kids. And that was adjusted for prior attainment as well. So that's not just the bright, motivated kids, it's the kids who did the course. Second year, we got a 6-point rise per GCSE. And the third year, we got a 9-point rise per GCSE on average for the kids who did the course compared to the kids who didn't do the course. Now, I don't have any data that can prove why it went 4, 6, 9. But what I believe happened is that we began to change the culture, because culture changes when thought changes, and that's really at the heart of this whole program, is teaching people about how, fear, if you think about it, it's a thought that's causing the reaction in the body, and that will stop us from moving forward. So, but also learning how visualization works, how the conscious and the subconscious mind work together, is, in my view, vital in schools, and we're not talking about it. And if you went on YouTube and you watched a clip called Out of Control, which was a Horizon program, what you'd see on there, you'd see about 5 or 6 top brain scientists being asked, they're given a sheet of paper, like an A4 sheet of paper, and they're asked, if this whole paper was our mind and our consciousness and our motivation for acting, how much of it would be conscious and how much would it be subconscious? And what you'll see them all do is like mark off a bit like that and say, well, I think that would be conscious and this would be subconscious, or this is my best guess, this little bit here would be conscious and this massive bit would be subconscious. So actually teaching students how the subconscious works and how to work with it and how visualization works, I think that's another one of the reasons why we were able to get those mind-blowing results. It was something that it was hard, it was outside of my belief system to be able to connect with that, the kind of results that we got there. So, 2 minutes. So to finish, I think the one thing I really want to say is, I think it's way past time where we wait for the powers that be, whatever the people who are in positions who really should know better than naming, blaming and shaming, because that's what's dripping down on us. That's another place where the fear's coming. It's way past time to wait for them to get their act together and start bringing in interventions and innovations that are going to make the school system work for all of our kids, for all of our parents, for all of our communities. And with Ken Robinson on this one, I don't know if you saw his 2013 address at the RSA, where he said, start now, do it. Change the way that you're working in the classroom, change the way that you're talking to kids, change the language, change the culture, because the change comes from us, school teachers, it comes from the parents, it comes from the wider community. And so, yeah, that's my invitation